food concepts franchisee and business consultant. Up to January 2024, he was the executive director and divisional managing director operations at Food Concepts PLC, where he managed over 300 restaurant teams and over 6,000 employees across Nigeria and Ghana.
My name is Kunle Kakanfo. This is not supposed to be a serious video. My name is Kunle Kakanfo. At some point, started calling myself an accidental medical doctor. One of the things about my journey was that I wanted more. Entertainment health, wellness, ambulance care. I wanted more beyond being a traditional clinical doctor in the four walls of the clinic. So I started my journey in public health. I've been practicing public health in all its dimensions. One thing that's also interesting about my journey is that I've always stayed at the tipping edge of innovation. I started what we call the Africa Hub for Innovation and Development, which essentially is a development firm. We took our journey into deep tech and emerging technology, leveraging on our digital transformation experience. And one of the things that we do with artificial intelligence, which is a deep tech work, is help to catalyze product innovation for healthcare, for education, for climate, for gender, ensuring to catalyze social impact solutions, promoting capacity building, upskilling for healthcare workers, for teachers, professionals generally, and also driving advocacy and ethical leadership for artificial intelligence. And also beyond that, having a hub, which is a physical hub, which is where I sit right now. And I just want to be part of continuous change. I want to be part of making sure that lives get transformed, people's health get improved, there are better health outcomes for people on the continent of Africa.
Beyond the code, my work is about impact. Every room I walk into, corporate, community, or global, is a chance to shift how African women experience health. I speak, I teach, I partner across borders because awareness is power and collaboration drives change. Through Debo Africa, we are building solutions that make healthcare safer, smarter, and truly accessible. This work fuels me, and every moment reminds me why I do what I do, empowering women and shaping a new future for women's health in Africa.
My name is Kunle Kakanfo. This is not supposed to be a serious video. My name is Kunle Kakanfo. At some point, started calling myself an accidental medical doctor. One of the things about my journey was that I wanted more. Entertainment, health, wellness, ambulance care. I wanted more beyond being a traditional clinical doctor in the four walls of a clinic. So I started my journey in public health. I've been practicing public health in all its dimensions. One thing that's also interesting about my journey is that I've always stayed at the tipping edge of innovation. I started what we call the Africa Hub for Innovation and Development, which essentially is a development firm. We took our journey into deep tech and emerging technology, leveraging on our digital transformation experience. And one of the things that we do with artificial intelligence, which is a deep tech
for women's health in Africa.
Dr. Ikenna Okongwu is a highly experienced operations leader in the FMCG QSR industry with over 30 years experience in Nigeria, UK, etc. Currently, the Managing Director, Dottie Universal Concepts Limited, Food Concepts Franchisee and Business Consultant. Up to January 2024, he was the Executive Director and Divisional Managing Director Operations at Food Concepts PLC, where he managed over 300 restaurant teams and over 6,000 employees across Nigeria and Ghana.
for gender, ensuring to catalyze social impact. My name is Kunle Kakanfo. This is not supposed to be a serious video. My name is Kunle Kakanfo. At some point, started calling myself an accidental medical doctor. One of the things about my journey was that I wanted more. Entertainment, health, wellness, ambulance care. I wanted more beyond being a traditional clinical doctor in the four walls of a clinic. So I started my journey in public health. I've been practicing public health in all its dimensions. One thing that's also interesting about my journey is that I've always stayed at the tipping edge of innovation. I started what we call the Africa Hub for Innovation and Development, which essentially is a development firm. We took our journey into deep tech and emerging technology, leveraging on our digital transformation experience. And one of the things that we do with artificial intelligence, which is a deep tech work, is help to catalyze product innovation for healthcare, for education, for climate, for gender, ensuring to catalyze social impact solutions, promoting capacity building, upskilling for healthcare workers, for teachers, professionals generally, and also driving advocacy and ethical leadership for artificial intelligence. And also beyond that, having a hub, which is a physical hub, which is where I sit right now. And I just want to be part of continuous change. I want to be part of making sure that lives get transformed, people's health get improved, there are better health outcomes for people on the continent of Africa.
Beyond the code, my work is about impact. Every room I walk into, corporate, community, or global, is a chance to shift how African women experience health. I speak, I teach, I partner across borders because awareness is power and collaboration drives change. Through Debo Africa, we are building solutions that make healthcare safer, smarter, and truly accessible. This work fuels me, and every moment reminds me why I do what I do, empowering women and shaping a new future for women's health in Africa.
Dr. Ikenna Okongwu is a highly experienced operations leader in the FMCG QSR industry with over 30 years experience in Nigeria, UK, etc. Currently, the Managing Director, Dottie Universal Concepts Limited, Food Concepts Franchisee and Business Consultant. Up to January 2024, he was the Executive Director and Divisional Managing Director Operations at Food Concepts PLC, where he managed over 300 restaurant teams and over 6,000 employees across Nigeria and Ghana.
My name is Kunle Kakanfo. This is not supposed to be a serious video. My name is Kunle Kakanfo. At some point, started calling myself an accidental medical doctor. One of the things about my journey was that I wanted more entertainment, health, wellness, ambulance care. I wanted more beyond being a traditional clinical doctor in the four walls of the clinic. So I started my journey in public health. I've been practicing public health in all its dimensions. One thing that's also interesting about my journey is that I've always stayed at the tipping edge of innovation. I started what we call the Africa Hub for Innovation and Development, which essentially is a development firm. We took our journey into deep tech and emerging technology, leveraging on our digital transformation experience. And one of the things that we do with artificial intelligence, which is a deep tech work, is help to catalyze product innovation for healthcare, for education, for climate, for gender, ensuring to catalyze social impact solutions, promoting capacity building, upskilling for healthcare workers, for teachers, professionals generally, and also driving advocacy and ethical leadership for artificial intelligence. and also beyond that, having a hub, which is a physical hub, which is where I sit right now. And I just want to be part of continuous change. I want to be part of making sure that lives get transformed, people's health get improved, there are better health outcomes for people on the continent of Africa.
Beyond the code, my work is about impact. Every room I walk into, corporate, community, or global, is a chance to shift how African women experience health. I speak, I teach, I partner across borders because awareness is power and collaboration drives change. Through Depo Africa, we are building solutions that make healthcare safer, smarter, and truly accessible. This work fuels me, and every moment reminds me why I do what I do, empowering women and shaping a new future for women's health in Africa.
Welcome, everyone. We'll just give one more minute and we'll start. So we'd like to welcome you to the webinar today. So let's give a minute for a few more people to join and then we begin. Thank you. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from around the world, and welcome to the December edition of the Pathways in Medicine 4, a webinar series hosted by Ivan Research Institute Nigeria. My name is Tonya Onyeka. I'm the Associate Director of Ivan Research Institute Nigeria, and I'll be moderating the panel session today. This series was created because we wanted to put a spotlight on the diversity and the unexpected turn in careers for medical professionals, clinicians, not just doctors, but nurses, pharmacists, social workers, anyone in the healthcare field who would primarily start out at what they want to do, but have a passion and veer into their passion. And we think that this is a space where all of us can explore and get some inspiration from the honest conversation that will be going on this evening about what it truly means to build a fulfilling career that is grounded in medical training, but is not confined by the medical training. So today we're honored to have a number of individuals here, very distinguished, remarkable speakers in our midst today. I'll be talking about them in a moment. I'd like to introduce them to us briefly. So if you take a look at my screen, we see we have 4 distinguished speakers today. I would like to introduce Dr. Ikenna Okongu. He's a medical doctor, has his degree from the University of Jos, who transitioned into the food industry. He has over 25 years of experience in the quick serve restaurant sector, including leadership roles with Kentucky Fried Chicken in the UK and in Ireland. And until 2024 of January, he served as the Executive Director and Divisional Managing Director of Operations at Food Concepts PLC, where he was overseeing more than 300 restaurants and over 6,000 employees across Nigeria and Ghana. He's currently the managing director of Dati Universal Concepts Limited, which is a food concepts franchise and a business consulting company. Our next panelist is Dr. Zara Isamodibo. She's a clinical microbiologist and infectious disease doctor. She's the co-founder and managing partner of Debo Africa, a woman-only health tech company that provides diagnostics, virtual consultations, and wellness services. They also conduct in a private female-centered environment. She leads the initiatives that are it is a section of medicine, technology, and community health, and she supports global innovation in the MENA region through her work with ZHT Advisory Qatar. Our third panelist is Dr. Kunle Kakanfo. He is a public health physician and digital transformation leader, also an artificial intelligence strategist and the co-founder of AI4SIDS.org, which developed AI tools like the AI-enabled cervical cancer screening tools. And through his company, he has led Nigeria's first national AI for public health capacity building workshop and is contributing actively to the development of national artificial intelligence in health framework, drawing on his many years of experience that includes multi-country digital landscape assessments across Africa and Asia, and Malawi's National Digital Transformation Roadmap for Nutrition Data Systems. He's a former USAID Foreign Service National, and he's a fellow of the West African Institute of Public Health. And our fourth panelist is Dr. Kachi Ugwa. Dr. Kachi Ugwa is a public health physician at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, where he also serves as the infection prevention and control focal person. He is the CEO of White Magic Events, a leading events management and decor company that he founded before medical school and has grown it into a national brand. Dr. Kachi blends clinical precision with creative innovation. So whether it's safeguarding patient safety or designing lottery weddings and corporate events, he consistently delivers excellence seamlessly, bridging healthcare leadership and high-end event design. And so without much ado, I would like our panelists to turn on their cameras and say hello to everyone, and we will dive into our discussions today. So hi, Kenna.
Hello.
Hi, Zara.
Hello.
Hi, Kule. Hi. Oh, Kule, your mic is off. Yeah.
Hi. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here today. We have a lot of anticipation, a lot of questions. People are wondering, okay, so I would start, first of all, just thank you so much for joining us. So let's start the journey here, because this is a journey of discovery and a journey of inspiration. So I just put the first question to Zara. And Zara, what inspired you to take a dive into this world of women empowerment, women health, considering that you're an accomplished medical microbiologist?
How many minutes do I have? Up to an hour?
Okay, so yeah, so no, you just have 3 minutes to answer this
Oh
first
dear,
question.
that's a big
Yeah.
loaded question to answer. But good afternoon, good evening, everyone. A pleasure and an honor to be invited to speak here today. Well, I'll just say that I believe a journey should never be a straight line. I did not anticipate doing what I was doing when I was in medical school. I thought it was easy. Finish, do your residency, become a consultant, advance in your career, and that's the end, retire. However, there are lots of like loops and turns who started from housemanship when I got thrown into the deep end and I saw that things were not going the way they were. And I had this deep conviction that I wanted to do more, and I felt like doing more would be easier outside of the system instead of being as embedded into the system. And so from there on, I decided to do other things. I was in the clinic, but I was volunteering. I was doing research. I was doing research for a lot of international organizations for free. And I'll say that again, for free. I wasn't being paid because I just wanted to put my foot down and I wanted to be recognized as someone that, was able to do the work. And I was still junior at that time. Fast forward, I was raised by my mother. My father passed away when I was quite young. And I saw that, women carried a lot. They were the bedrock of society and they often neglected themselves. The easiest path would have been to do lab medicine because that's what I did specialize in. However, it just seemed incomplete. And so I decided that to do the best impact, I wanted to embed women diagnostics and to, use technology to improve access. I think that's the short answer. I will stop here because he gave me 3 minutes, and I hope that I can deep dive more into the story as we go along. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I want to just quickly look over to Dr. Ikenna briefly and ask him, why food and not patients? Everybody's curious. Everybody's curious. Yeah, why
Yeah.
food?
Okay. Okay. I think my story will begin from before medical school. I think I wanted to do pure maths as a first degree. And
Wow.
always in those days, parents wanted their children to do professional courses. So obviously, medicine was it. So I did medicine at University of Jos. I mean, I went through 6 years, did my house job, did my NYSC, worked for a year, and then traveled abroad. And that was an opportunity for me to now discover myself. So I got a job in KFC as a junior member and then literally walked my way through. Became a restaurant manager, decided, okay, I enjoyed working with people. So I then took on a postgraduate diploma in human resources, did that whilst I was working, moved into HR briefly, but my passion always been in operations. And I really enjoyed it. So I moved back to operations and then, I just carried on all the way through. I enjoyed it, particularly impacting people's lives, seeing the youngsters grow, seeing them get promoted through the ranks. And then an opportunity came up in Ireland to work for a franchisee. I did it. I helped him expand his business there. And I think it was time for me to come back to Nigeria. My dad wasn't feeling too well at the time. So I moved back to Nigeria and then worked with KFC for about 3 years and then moved to Food Concepts where really I had my impact. We grew from about 43 stores to over 300 stores. And I think for me, it was mainly the people, seeing the youngsters grow, giving them the drive, being a mentor to them as well. And I think it got to a point where I felt it was time to do something on my own. And then moved out as a franchisee with Food Concepts. And I also help businesses, particularly in the hospitality industry. If they have challenges, I step in there and advise them on what to do and then help them turn around as well. So my story is slightly different. So initially pure maths, then I did medicine and then moved into the commercial industry.
Thank you. It's really different from Zara's story. So, and I know we're going to be hearing the same thing, for the last two panelists. So thank you so much, Dr. Ikenna. So when we are inviting Dr. Kunle. Dr. Kunle, so it's your question now. And we want to know, because everybody knows Dr. Kunle is, the word Dr. Kunle is synonymous with artificial intelligence. Everybody knows in Nigeria. So when I met you, I met you at NISA this year, right? And I saw the buzz around you. Everybody was talking about you, especially after you made your presentation at NISA. So it seemed like even everything about you was using artificial intelligence, and you've done a lot of work there and you've been successful there. So with your burning passion for all things AI, if you had to go back to your final year in secondary school and where before you made a choice for medicine, would you opt differently?
Yeah, so my journey, so when you asked for a 1-minute video, I talked, I just kind of spoke about it for about 15 minutes. So my team struggled to put the video into 1 minute because I did not start out, I graduated like 15 before I was 15 years.
So, and because I was restless, I passed the Polytechnic JAM at the time. And
Okay.
then the university JAM, it was a lot of politics and struggle. So I did estate management. And because you asked if I would do medicine, so I did estate management in a federal polytechnic, which I finished. Started working with Jide Taiwo and Co. And then my parents insisted, oh, you always wanted to do medicine. Just go back to medicine. So I went back. I kept doing medicine. The first year I got pharmacy, they said no. Second year I got microbiology, they said no. I thought, yeah, going to the fourth year eventually. They're like, okay, just going whatever. So I took the microbiology option and I started microbiology. For me, it was about purpose. It was beyond just the course. It was about purpose. It was about what my hand finds to do. And I was ready to do it to go all the way. And I was always restless at the time. So before I got into medicine, I was already acquiring certifications, management certifications, both locally and internationally. So when I got into medicine as a 200 level, I remember when they were trying to do the whole cadaver thing and do the first anatomy exam, I was reading for Chartered Institute of Personnel Management exams, which I became chartered, by the way, and a host of them that way.
Wow.
I think for me, I was like a rabbit bird. I was looking for something more true. I was looking for a connection to my purpose, a connection to creating a larger sense of impact for people. And it keeps resonating with me about, more about people than, just a particular course. So I did medicine either ways. At every MBA exams, we used to call it, there's always one professional exam I was writing. But the good thing was that I also had the restlessness for computers. So computers, anything that was coming out new. So all the professors, all the lecturers who were not at the time very computer fluent, always came to me. That's how they knew me. Always came to me, helped me with my research paper, helped me with SPSS, helped me with this, helped me with that. Because I had a forward intelligence for those things and I went after it. So to your question, if it was in medicine, yes, it could have been other things. But I remain forever grateful for the expansion of my horizon and my mind that medicine brought. And it has demonstrated a clear, like it just gives me that clear-mindedness in the things that I do afterwards. So all through before I graduated, I just realized that it wasn't for me, essentially. And I met a lot of young people. The reason why people like already know me within the industry that I work is because I talk to a lot of young people. I host and a podcast that is called Conversations with Dr. K. That's quite popular. In total, about over 8,000 attendees. So I talked to a lot of young people. Much more recently, there's about 2 young ladies who came back from doing medicine abroad and wanted to do something entirely different, wanted to do digital health, but their parents were struggling to allow them to do digital health. Because why don't you just become, go into residency and become a surgeon or something? And I think that's one of the reasons why I like this kind of conversations. Beyond people just getting the degree, how do they navigate purpose out of the things that they do? Now I work at the intersection of health, technology, health, and AI, and it's been significantly relevant across the different countries that I've worked. Often and often again, I realize that people who carry the deep knowledge of medicine cross over to technology, are able to translate policies better, or are able to curate policies better to some of the decision makers that are just, doctors or clinical persons within the ministries of health all over different countries. And I've seen that, really useful in the way that I've done my work, from working as a director in Family Health International, leading informatics teams. I led software developers, about 20 plus of them, to leading state operations across all the countries in Nigeria, to also leading the largest HIV, implementation program across sub-Saharan Africa, which is the HIV Search in Akwa Ibom, which was about $12 million in a period of 1 year, to leading and working across different organizations across Africa. I did stop my career in Nigeria, USAID, by the way, before I left. I went abroad about 5 years ago, and I worked in different multinationals afterwards. But would it have been medicine? Or it could have been not medicine. But what am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to be a doctor. It clearly makes a difference in the things that I lay my hands on, and it kind of sharpens my edge at every point of it. Thank you. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you so much. So I am seeing there's a connecting fabric from Zara to Kenna to Yukunle. And so let's talk with Kachi. So Kachi, Dr. Kachi, hi, welcome. For out of the four of you, I think the closest to me is Kachi. I've known him because I've been going after him because of this talent that he has that brought him here. And I first heard about him when he was doing house job, and it blew my mind away when I saw what he was doing then. And I couldn't believe that talent was in medical school. I just said that this kind of talent doesn't belong in medical school. So, Dr. Kachi, how did you fare in the early days? Because I see, as we read out, you started this even before medical school. What happened? The momsy and popsy reaction. We know this is Niger. So we know the momsy and popsy, you must do medicine or they buy you. What was the reaction then? How did you cope? Well, how did they take it when they saw you, your passion is in interior designing and events? Your mic is off.
Okay, all right, okay. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I'm honored to be here, and I would say that, well, for me, I came from a family where I didn't have any restrictions, yeah, and nobody forced me to do medicine or study medicine. Funny enough, my parents are bankers or retired bankers right now, so there was no force. I didn't even have a cousin, nobody around me studied medicine. But I knew from day one that I was going to study medicine. I'm not trying to say that I veered into events or all that because I was looking for money. Well, that wasn't the reason. I want to say right now that I'm an A student. So I'm not bragging about it. So when they saw me going into things around these, they were like, "Oh, what's going on? Why are you doing this?" Because well, we are four in my family, and I just have one sister.
Okay.
And she's way, 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 way younger than me. So I just have one elder brother, so I'm the number two out of four. So then when we were growing up, they noticed that I was, I could put things together, I could arrange things. Then my younger sister was just too small and all that. So it wasn't surprising me coming into, finishing school, secondary school, and I just felt that I could do 1, 2 things together, school fellowships, all those kind of things. I was like, I could play my hands with things, and that's how it all started. So for me, it wasn't business. It didn't start with business. And I found that I could help out with things in the house. We can show out things. And I was just a homemaker, if I use that word. So everybody would just wait for me to come back, and whatever I say, however I fix it, that kind of a thing. So I didn't have any restriction from the family, and I didn't have any restriction. When I got into school, I knew the book work was very, very important. So like I said, it was very a hobby kind of a thing. So it was later on in the course of medical school that I realized that I need to balance it and make it, create a system, on how to make it grow beyond that. So for me, it was just a hobby. But now, why am I doing medicine? So what's the link between the medicine and the interior or the events related things I'm doing?
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that question very soon. We'll get to. So we're going back to Zara. And Zara is doing women health, women tech, women empowerment. And Zara, we want to find out how has your background as a medical doctor influenced the way you design, lead, and implement the socioeconomic development programs that you run for the women that you interact with?
Thank you for that question. So I think one of the panelists mentioned that even if it wasn't medicine or studying medicine has, been very helpful, and I would echo that because, even though right now I hardly see patients one-on-one, everything that I studied during my time, I used to influence, I used to understand. I've been there, I've experienced it, both as a clinician and both as a patient myself and as a woman myself. So I think I have a lot of experience and I speak from a point of experience. So when we're designing systems or designing our technology, we always look at the system. The system, how did we navigate it as clinicians? And how did we navigate it as patients ourselves and as women ourselves? So the background medical knowledge makes a whole lot of difference. Even some people ask me that, okay, after studying medicine, you didn't stop at that, but you became a consultant. So you went another 5 years trying to specialize, but yet still you're not like in the traditional hospital system. Yes, but I still, would say that every experience counts. And I feel, studying laboratory medicine, having a fellowship, being a fellow of the West African College, one, it gives me the authority to be able to speak to the knowledge of what I'm implementing. But two, everything that I've learned is what I put into practice. And so I can speak to doctors, interact with doctors. So what we do is that we use technology to provide seamless access for women to be able to be matched. So we use AI as well. We have a triage system where women can go in and interact and get a quick response to what could be wrong. But we don't stop there because we believe that technology should enable and not replace healthcare. So our AI triage tool will then match you to the right specialist on the platform, female specialist. And we're not doing gynae, we're doing everything, including mental health and wellness. So it would match you with the right specialist on the platform to speak with. And we don't stop there because we do believe that, virtual medicine would also need a layer of physical medicine as well. So after they have their virtual and we triage, if there's a need to have a physical consultation, we would offer that as well. And we will help you have a seamless referral to the specialist that you need to see. So you're not getting into the hospital and being confused about which specialist to see. Now, it's two-layered because we also believe that we're going to help to strengthen the health system. One, there is a brain drain, and we need to talk about that. So many of the doctors are not on the continent. So we should be able to open up our platforms so that doctors that are licensed to practice anywhere in the world, but are licensed in that jurisdiction, can still provide, treatment to the women all men on the continent. That's one. The second thing is that many people do not actually need to go into the hospital. And when they do, they burden the healthcare system. And so if we do our triage and we do it well, you'll find that many of them have viral infections or flus that just need rest, or some are just stressed out, and some just need mental health therapy. So therefore, we triage accurately. So only those that require to be in the hospital to be able to see the specialist, then go into the hospital, therefore reducing the burden. But how do I know all of this? I know it because I spent a lot of years in the hospital. I spent a lot of years studying and specializing. And so I was embedded in that system. So I can now sit back and use all that experience and all that learning to be able to design a system that is practical and realistic, because we're not speaking theory. You need to know the practical. You need to have lived it and walked it to be able to do it practically. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a solution that you've created that solves it takes care of a need, and that's a huge yawning need that's caused by the Jafra syndrome, and that's really awesome. Which leads me to my next question. You and I and the rest of the healthcare professionals on this webinar know that we don't have a structured curriculum to teach us things about entrepreneurship and things around advocacy. So what were the barriers you had, while setting up and the early stages of running your organization?
In fact, that's
Nobody,
a
it's not in any medical or nursing or pharmacy or social work curriculum. So how can clinicians, healthcare professionals, what are the things they should look out for? The things that hit you, almost stopped you on your tracks
yeah.
when you first started.
So I think it's important that we know that there isn't, and I think it's time that we begin to implement it. In fact, one of the things I wanted to do this year was with fellow medical entrepreneurs to build a curriculum or a system where we could train, people that were looking at improving their business acumen, and even though they were in medical school, because honestly, it's not trained at all. Other continents, I was recently at a health hackathon for students in one of these Arab countries. And these are nursing students, year 2, year 3, medical students, year 2, year 3. And they were provided an opportunity to come in and listen to business leaders, global leaders, innovators, and given 48 hours to build a plan, a business plan, where we'd go through it, pick it apart and support them into building that business. And for those that win, they'll get some seed funding, they're able to do the business. So by the time they're completing their degrees, either nursing or medicine, they're also building a business. And I was like, why can we not have something of similar in our continent? For me, I would say that in the beginning, it wasn't easy, but I always moved. So I always tried to go for conferences, try to listen to things, try to network. I believe that, network is not like MTN in our bedrooms. You have to move to go and meet the network wherever it is. And I'll tell maybe two stories quickly. So one was I went for a conference in Spain with a colleague who was doing research in a particular topic. And the professor that spoke on that topic really spoke to my heart. And I was like, I'm not doing research in that field, but I want to talk to this professor. And you are, so you're coming with me, and we're going to use your research to open up the conversation. And we just went and we said, we're from Nigeria, and so and so person is doing research in this topic. And he was like, you are God sent, because I've been looking on how to enter the continent, how to enter Nigeria particularly, And that was the end of the story. 10 years down the line, this led to global research, Gates Foundation funded research. One of our research assistants is just completing her PhD in Oxford University, all because we decided to move and go and speak. So that's one story. Then I just had this nudge about starting business, but I didn't know where to start. And I didn't have capital and I didn't have the confidence, especially as a woman. It's not easy to just pick up and say, I'm starting a business. You have other things
Yeah.
to think about, including your family, your children, and everything else that you're navigating. But that nudge was so strong. And then I got another offer to help somebody that had raised capital build a lab and a biobank. And I took that offer so that I would learn on the job. And that person knew that I was already thinking of doing something. It wasn't refined. I had been writing things in my living room and dreaming things up, but it wasn't refined. So I used that as a stepping stone. And I used that to build my own confidence that I could do this. And we built a fantastic lab and biobank, hired staff, and we did that from ground zero. And I was leading that team. And then COVID came and disrupted everything. But because we were ready and we had the molecular infrastructure, we became the face of private testing for COVID. And that was something that was built, from ground up. And so I believe that experience is the best teacher. Once
Yeah.
you do something, you fail, you try again, you learn these things on the job. If you're lucky enough to get there, if you're not now with everything with AI, with ChatGPT, there's so much with YouTube, there's so many tools to learn from. I would say the one-on-one course on business acumen, like everything is online. You can learn it, but believe me, mentorship is also important. So if you can find people that are building similar things that you want to build, we're all there on LinkedIn. If you message somebody, if you're lucky, the person responds, get a mentor that is doing something that you like to do or something similar. Ask questions and try to leverage on also volunteering in institutions, because that's why it's good to volunteer for free. Especially if they're not paying you, you go, you volunteer, you learn what they're doing, and you understand it. But believe me, you have to know finance, you have to know legal, you have to know ethics, plus everything that you've known in your medical field. So it's not something that you do sitting down, but it's something that you have to be very intentional and deliberate about. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So I know that you have to drop off very soon. And I want to ask you a last question, which is, what advice would you give to individuals that have a passion that is similar to yours? Okay. And have it in mind that these individuals may not necessarily be in the healthcare sector. So they want to empower women, they want to help women, especially with their health. Yes.
If
Yes,
she's going
sure.
to be stepping out, will you
She's
allow
stepping
people
out.
then to ask her? Will you allow people to
Okay.
ask her question yet?
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can.
Yes.
So
Yes.
then I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So there are already some questions I can see for Dr. Zera. Okay. So Dr. Zera, can you answer that question and we go and answer some from the attendees, please?
Sure. So
Okay.
the question was, okay, so I think the first thing is if you have a nudge, a whisper, a feeling that you want to do something, start. Nothing
Mhm.
happens without starting.
Yes.
Don't let the fear of I don't know where to start from, stop you from starting. Start small. Start by talking to people. Start by writing it down. And start by taking a course, but do start. And there's no movement without motion. I always say that, like, you cannot be stagnant or going in a straight line and think that things would change automatically. Or God has always said, tie your camel and then I'll help you. That's what we believe strongly. So you have to move in a direction that is not safe and might be risky. But that's business for you. You cannot have the ABC plan of how it's going to work out until you start. Some things might not work out, but you pick up yourself and then you start again. So I think the main thing is actually to
Mm.
like start. Once you start, the things will start to fall in place.
Okay. So Dr. Stephanie Bemera is saying, what an awesome panel. In terms of Dr. Zera's platform, can she speak more about the triage aspect of her platform? Is it AI or human based?
So the triage is AI. We developed it using, our own experience, and some specialists were also part of the technical working group. What it does is, so it's not like a Google or a Chat GPT where you just go put in, maybe I have headache, and then, oh, it can be a barrage of things. But you put it in, you get some feedback on what type of headache could it be. You get some questions so maybe like 5 or 6 questions later, you then get some idea of, okay, it could be this, and click here to find the specialist neurologist, if it's a neurology case, or a specialist family physician, or a medical officer that will be able to take you through. So that triage is then, the data from that triage is then shared with the doctor to say, this is why this person was sent to you. And with that, we're also improving like the accuracy of our triage. So it is AI.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zera. I can't see any other questions for you right now. And Stephanie said thank you too. So I'm going to go over to Dr. Kenna, and I'm going
Before
to
we
ask
go to
you.
Dr. Ikenna, please,
Yes,
sorry,
yes,
because I might not speak again, as
yes.
I will be leaving soon, I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for bringing us together. I think these are important conversations that we need to continue to have. The point that you raised, that we don't have a structured program where we start to build innovation and entrepreneurship within the ecosystem of medicine, I think is something that we should really think about doing. Yes, going forward, just so that we're not stuck in a straight line, because I
Yes.
believe strongly that greatness doesn't come from straight lines. It comes from the curves and the bends, but
Yes.
greatness is born from all the hardship. So thank you all very much, and it was a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zera. We're happy we had you today. Thank you. And we want you back again next year. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, Dr. Kenna, your question is, as a medical doctor turned a food industry leader, is there one culinary skill or a kitchen trick that every busy professional should know that maybe you can share with us? Is there any? Yes.
Wow, that's a tough question. I think the skill I would say would be to be determination. When I look back at my career, I got to the UK, obviously with my parents had plans on specialization and all that, but I decided to get a job and I literally focused on it. I got a job in KFC and literally focused on it. I saw myself go progress all the way through. And I think what helped me was the discipline and the attention to detail I got from medical school. Literally, those 6 years and even the year of house job and the year of the NYSC was amazing, really. So that helped me along the way. And I had that care for patients, and I transferred that to care for human beings, or for my team members, for my colleagues, literally. So I spend time focusing on the team members, the managers, and literally impacted knowledge across to them. And just as Zara said, there's a gap about entrepreneurship and also business skills that are lacking in medical school. And I have to develop that along the way. And
Yes.
something I did as well was to get a mentor. His name is Richard Frost, was on the UK, and he guided me through my growth through KFC, from a team member all the way up to becoming a restaurant manager, then a trainer, then moved into human resources. But I also learned along the way that I have to step aside and do things for myself. So I then done a postgraduate diploma in human resources to understand the people piece. Because I realized that, yes, you might care for them, but you need to also understand the HR perspective on managing people as well. So I did that, spent 4 years in human resources, looked after the whole of London as a human resources manager, and then moved back to operation because I wanted to be where the action was, literally. And I think along the way, I spent time developing people. I mean, I've seen people that came into KFC or Chicken Republic at the time as team members and literally help them grow through, not just from a career perspective in the business, but also just showing them the way that they have to get a first degree, get a second degree if they have to. And I've seen a number of them become regional managers across the country at this point in time and across different brands in Nigeria. So I think there's that piece about my determination in making it work, but also pass that determination across to others that they have to literally help others grow as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you. So I want to ask Dr. Kachi. Dr. Kachi, are you? Yes. Fine. So Dr. Kachi, tell us about how do you transition between medicine and interior designing? Because I mean, there are 2 ends on the spectrum, science and art. Well, how do you do that? Just take us through. How do you manage? So, how does your brain work? Is it half medicine, half art, or is it all medicine and then all art? So how does it go? Yeah. Your mic is off. Your mic is off.
Okay, yes. So I said that medicine is actually an art, not necessarily science, totally science. So I'm still safe to play in that sense, in that circle of entrepreneurship. Anyways, for me, I want to say that it's more of a hospitality passion, passion, the gift of hospitality. That was what kept me going. This is just the basis of whatever I do. And so for me, med school gave me that strong, like Dr. Ikena mentioned, the discipline, the focus, and all that I needed to, push through medical school. So for me, that was one thing that also helped me in my small. Then I was looking at it like a business, a hobby, more like. So for me, that was just it. And I was just very, very disciplined. I want to throw more lights on that. I got offers to do swearing-in for governors while I was a student. I can remember the Anambra State governor. They called on me to come and do the swearing-in for the new governor coming. Then I refused. I turned it down, and the lady was like, "What are you saying?" I said, "No, I'm writing exams. I'm not going to do this." So for me, that was, that was just an example. So I was very, 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 very focused in med school. I must say the truth. I was that focused that my teachers didn't see anything wrong in me doing this. I actually do parties and do stuff for my professors, for my teachers. Even my swearing-in was not bad. I decorated, I planned, I did everything for my swearing-in ceremony. So what I'm trying to say is that that's discipline and focus, being focused. It was something I took very dearly in whatever I was doing. So it created that balance immediately. So he couldn't fault me in anywhere. I was there for my lectures. I was there for my word rounds. I was there. So I was that guy that had a car, so I could plan myself. I drive here, I do that. Sometimes people ask me, so when did you decorate this? Because I was with you some hours ago. So for me, it's just that. I was just being disciplined to know I couldn't buy so much because of the money. Yeah. So first of all, that money have never been my driver. I wasn't then driving me and doing whatever I'm doing. So I felt that I saw myself in the hospitality space. Also, going into public health was very, very easy for me. Even when I did it as a medical school, community medicine, that was very easy peasy, the field work, everything. So for me, it was easy for me to do residency in public health and, go into the line. So for me, it was just value creation. I was just trying to make sure that I was creating value in whatever I saw I found myself doing. And like I said, dealing with patients for me, it was very, very key. So for me, anything, the medicine and the events, I saw it as the same thing as for hospitality.
It didn't affect your academic. Remember, I knew you as the house officer, so I was really surprised. How did you manage to graduate when you were doing all those big things I saw you were doing then? Those massive decorations and things. Because I was at an event. I came in and I said, "Who did this?" And they said, "Oh, it's the house officer, University of Nigeria." I'm like, "What? Is it my what? How did he pass the MB? So how did you do? How did you do the two of them?"
Yeah, so
Please,
it was just passion.
there
It
are
was
students
just
here. There are nursing students, there are medical students, listening.
Yeah, it was basically passion and being focused, and like I said, being disciplined. Like it was very, very important to tell myself that I have to graduate. I'm a medical student. I took that as a secondary thing. Although that's, I will tell you to tomorrow, the event pays me more than the medicine anyway. But till tomorrow, there's still drive for me to doing the medicine work as well, And so for me, I saw it as an opportunity to provide, create value. And like I mentioned, it was just trying to balance everything and being disciplined. Like I mentioned earlier on, there were so many things I had to give up on. Oh, I'm on call, I can't do this. I'm writing my exams. So during exams, MBs, I don't do any job. These were just to keep my head very, very low. My parents knew that I was doing this, so they were like, make sure, I'm not doing it. So for me, like I said, it wasn't about the money. I just wanted to make sure that I was putting smiles on people's face. So for me, if you come around me, I'm here to make you happy as a patient or as a client. So that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you give young people who want to get into the hospitality business like you and Otikena?
Well, it's fine. For me, for me, balance is always key for me. So whatever you're doing, I'm always a sucker of creating a balance in whatever you're doing. I saw my business in the form of like I mentioned, the public health space. So if I'm dealing in public health, you're not dealing with individual, you're dealing with a system, So for me, I saw my business, I couldn't even go further as a one-man show thing. Needed to create systems. So I'm talking to you right now. My boys are working somewhere, I'm checking what they are doing later on. I'm making sure, yes, it will cost me a lot, but I've created systems where it mustn't be me that'll be there to make sure A is doing or B is doing that. So for me, I was just applying all that I knew in the public health space in my business as well. So that is it. And so for me, I want to say that it's not really about, for me, it's not about the paycheck. It's actually, addresses the higher purpose of whatever you're doing. That's for one thing in life. You can see that every other panelist here, there was passion in whatever they were doing. So it's not necessarily about, this pays more, so I need to drop medicine and do this. Like I said, I'm still doing medicine. I'm not quitting from medical practice. So that's the advice I'll give.
So I'm hearing the same theme from every panelist. So I'm hearing things like mentoring, betting yourself in other people, having a mentor, so I'm seeing some of those concepts that are tying up your stories. And that's really very interesting. And I'm saying that for the young people that are on this call who have passion, but they don't know how to develop it, and they don't know how to create the balance between where they are and where they want to be. So thank you so much. Let's go to Dr. Kunle. So Dr. Kunle, now there are clinicians that are interested in artificial intelligence. I mean, that's where the world is going. So if you're an individual in the world and you are not interested, I think that individual will have a problem. So, but for clinicians particularly, in healthcare who are interested in pivoting to artificial intelligence, tech, innovation, what are the fundamental competencies or learning pathways that they should prioritize? So, Dr. Kunle, did you hear me? Your mic is off.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. And
Yeah.
yes, I did hear you. And that is critical is to keep evolving
Okay.
as clinicians. I look at the mercury in that signal minority, and you need to wait for the particular pulse sound to make
Yeah.
judgment of whatever the blood pressure is.
Yeah, the Korokov
It was a
sound.
lot of trouble for some of us then. But look at what our age has evolved to right now. Everybody uses like a digital signal monitor. And beyond that, also there are now sensors, IoTs that the phones, the wristwatches are doing what we used to do with traditional. And I think as clinicians, we need to consistently evolve our knowledge and our skill base. A lot of clinicians now surgeries, as against when we used to, do open surgeries back in the days. And I think that also plays a demand on the rate of evolution of our knowledge and of the care we provide to our patients. And that's why it's becoming important. It's no longer a matter of career pathway. It's becoming important for clinicians, nurses, people who work to save lives in the hospital to become digitally literate. One of the key challenges we have within the digital ecosystem when we're trying to upscale digital implementation in the hospitals is always clinicians stuck in their ways. And apologies to all the clinicians stuck in their ways, always having a sense of being busy and not wanting to do. But efficiency, it's first of all driven by acquiring the right knowledge. And becoming digitally literate is no longer a luxury. Now that's the age of digital literacy.
Yes.
But now we have evolved into the age of AI literacy. So if you have not even become digital literate, that means you have a major leapfrog to make. So we need to sensitize ourselves to the fact that you have to become AI fluent and AI literate. I know a lot of hospitals are beginning to do AI readiness assessment to rise up to the call. I spoke to the commissioner for current state for and interested in seeing how ready their health systems are for it. To know there are a lot of ways way efficient. Right now, there are a lot of apps, Fireflies, Otter, and a lot of apps that are collecting our speech to text. And most of the things that we do as clinicians either comes through one of these, either we're talking or we're talking, and you want to be efficient to be able to convert whatever patient to your clinical. So systems already, MedJama and a lot of systems infrastructure or easily make that. I've been trained with Med easy, but how do we even to know that fluent that'll help us to be a lot more efficient and to leapfrog our beyond speech to text? I say even with simple pictures, you can diagnose skin infection, skin lesions. We have a system that can be used cervical cancer visual inspection where clinicians are busy looking, and it can help you diagnose with about 8. When visual inspection is just about belly. Even beyond that, you can do acetic iodine and a whole lot, even a picture of the, diagnose whether a patient has anemia, and a whole lot of is bringing into clinical medicine. We have a same country in Nigeria that we have for health and AI for public health. sharing of those advances, how AI revolutionizing clinical, just using ChatGPT. AI is gone to collapse the number of time it will take for you to be able to make a diagnosis. It's about, being able to train these models sophisticated. So it's important. The world is racing, and it's really racing against all professions or clinical care. The world is racing, and the earlier that and we be able to stay there. And I always say, like I said, the best people to be able to make any industry are the experts in those industries. If to Google and go to all of those places, they probably have one clinician or two clinicians, and the rest of them are computer. The people that can make AI work the best for clinical medicine or clinicians are the clinicians themselves. And that's why clinicians need to upskill and say in the sense that we're seeing. There's no way AI is already driving about $15 trillion GDP globally. There's in the GDP of China and Russia put together with half of Europe. And then and this is like projected even in the already driving millions and millions of dollars in terms of capitalization. So we cannot fight it. And do is to be well skilled, get the right knowledge, get the right to upskill our, the whole curriculum business is another game. The whole residency curriculum is a whole different thing to think about.
Even the undergraduate curriculum, we need to put them in there.
I see everywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
AI is not going to replace doctors. AI is not intended to replace doctors. But if AI is optimized the way we're currently going, it will only take doctors that are AI fluent to be the. Because if you look at most phases of most sides of clinical care, AI already has an incursion into. If we don't strategically position ourselves in a lot of ways, relevance gradually. If you need clinical information, we have in Abuja, we do have what is called a taxonomy of AI in health. With you, Professor Tony, and to say in the different areas AI is currently doing, and it's only all of it. They are AI powered or make it much more effective to make diagnoses. They are AI powered. You don't even need to be a doctor to be able to use those thermometers. They are AI powered. We've always known all our lives, and it took us a lot of time to be trained on those. But with AI, even in anatomy, there are AI powered, trainings for teaching students anatomy. We've been able to build out those models. The cadaver any longer to be able to do trainings for another. Applies all like that in the different areas of our field. So for me, my take would always be get the right knowledge. WHO has guidelines, ethical frameworks that is guiding how AI should be used in healthcare. Get a hold of it. Yale School of Medicine already, made a lot of investment into, AI in clinical care research. And there's a lot of research going on even across Africa. Makere in Uganda just did an AI health conference. I need to see the sheer amount of advancement and research that is going on because computer scientists and doctors are collaborating and are using AI to make decisions, clinical diagnostic support as much as possible, triage like Dr. Madibo already mentioned earlier on. We are working with a couple of telehealth organizations to help them integrate AI into how they do telehealth. And for us, I think it's just an opportunity to leapfrog, an opportunity to be able to improve the outcomes of health for the people that need them the most. And not just about the profession itself, it's about the people who need healthcare delivered to them and they never get it. The ratio of doctor to patient right now in our country is unsustainable. Even across the whole of Africa, it's unsustainable. We need a leapfrog the most. We need that efficiency the most in Africa. So the
Mm.
earlier we embrace it, the better.
The
The
better.
earlier we acquire the knowledge that we need to navigate it, the better. And the better
I
for
agree
us
with
to
you.
sit on the table to be able to build the guardrails that is important, because AI in healthcare is particularly peculiar to
Mm.
AI into the right procedures and processes that we're not doing any harm to any patient. But if
Okay.
Tonya, the people
Yeah.
out there who are not doctors are already
Yes.
doing it for us. So it's high time
Mm.
small working group in teaching hospitals, small working groups in the different, even in medical schools, have a small working group to begin to look at what do we need to do differently. How do we set these frameworks? What are the use cases that are most relevant to us in these hospitals or in the teaching hospitals or in the ministries that we often work with most of the time. So I think the time is now to begin to think
Yes.
AI. The time is now to begin to see how we upskill. The time is now to see how do we even revamp this whole medical curriculum. To be honest with you, it's not working anymore. It is
Yeah.
not working again.
Anymore.
Some
Yes.
of the things
I
that we have
agree with you.
learned
I
after
agree with you.
school,
It's not working, not just for medicine, for nursing, for all the allied medical specialties. And I just read something this evening saying China is worried. They are the largest producers of humanoid robots in the world, but they're worried that already they have 150 manufacturers. And so they're afraid they're going to run into a bubble where there are going to be a lot of humanoid robots with, no purpose at all. Yeah, so it just clearly tells us something. The world is clearly AI right now, and the earlier clinicians and non-clinicians embrace it in an ethical manner, the better for everyone. So thank you so much,
absolutely.
Dr. Kunle. I have one more question for every one of you after I ask Dr. Kenna his last question. So after that, then we'll take one question and everybody will answer. So Dr. Kenna, what advice would you give for people who want to go into the food industry? So you have I mean, there are a lot of people that on the side will have their mama put, or they will have their small buka, or they will have their small restaurant, or they have a vision of that, having a vision of things like where you work, KIC, or where you are, at dating total concept. So how do you advise them? What do you say to them? How should they proceed, even though they are in healthcare right now, or they're not even in healthcare, they're doing something else, but their passion is just like yours in the food industry?
I think the first thing would be, are you customer focused? You need to be customer focused before even going to the food industry at all. You need to be customer focused, and you also need to have the passion for people. Those two are key elements before you even go to the food industry. I mean, you might know how to cook and then run a very bad business. So
okay, so you don't necessarily, the top number one is not know how to cook, right? It's be a people's person. Is that the number one?
Yeah, you can always learn to cook. But
Yes.
if you don't have the passion for customers or your staff, your people,
Yes.
you
Yes.
flawed, even if you're an experienced cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I didn't know how to cook. I mean, there were processes and procedures that were in place to follow through. And it took a while for me to get there. But I think, like I always said, being in medical school helped me. That care for patients, I translated that to care for my customers and care for my people. And that helped me in stepping into that industry. Then as well, I then added other areas around the business acumen, understanding what comes in, what goes out. I mean, that is key. Because if you don't, you can always open a business and not understand how it runs, you'll flop. I mean, most times, I think they say about maybe 50% of businesses fail in their first year. So I think you need to understand the numbers, and understand what comes in, what goes out, and be disciplined. And I think, again, back to medical school, that discipline came in running your business. So it's not just knowing how to cook, it's understanding how a business runs. And in addition to what I learned whilst progressing my career through KFC and then Food Concepts, I also took my time away to do my progressive diploma did a master's in management as well to understand the fine tunings of running a business. And that helped me a great deal in going through. But I think also the passion for people came into play. I mean, mentoring people, being fair and firm with people as well, so that they understand that they have a lot to give you, as well as you have a lot to give them as well. And you need to have a balance in managing people. The same way you, again, managing patients, making sure you're doing the right thing for the patients. When it comes to people, make sure you're doing what is right for them. But also know that when things go wrong, you will take action.
Okay. Okay. So I have one last question for you and Kunle and Kachi. So Kunle and Kachi, can you guys come back? There's a question in the chat that each of you would speak to just very, very briefly, and we close. We're over the hour by 6 minutes. And so that question is from Dr. Chidozie Ike, and he's saying, what advice do you have for multiple portfolio professionals? Okay, so that these are individuals who are jack of all trades and master of all. Because he says he sees some individuals emphasizing one area of focus against maximizing the potentials that they actually have in a particular field. So what advice you give to a lot of people that spread their hands like octopuses, trying to do everything? So it could be something happening to some of us where we are in one field, but we have a passion for 2 other things, and we're doing 3 things at a time. So starting from you, Dr. Ikenna, what advice, briefly, do you have for people who are that scattered?
I think for me is to find what gives you happiness, what you're passionate about, and focus on it. That would be my advice.
So out of 3 or more things, there must be something that should catch our fancy more than the other. Okay.
Yeah,
just focus on
it. Go for it and do the best out of it. Period.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Kunle. Yeah, Dr. Kunle, unmute. Could you answer that question?
It's getting a bit noisy where I am, but I'll try.
Yes,
I think it's important to know yourself. Know what your capacity is, and know what you can handle. Like some people they can only handle one thing per time. As much as possible, maximize your time. You can be in the clinic and also be doing research. Find complementary things to do together so that you can maximize your time at every point. Be in the clinic, take opportunity of the data that you have, do research alongside, or you're in the clinic, learn about wellness, just learn just things that are complementary to your skills and your profession. But also importantly, if you find the need to, and I think as much as we've been saying all the, and I'll just crave for 1 minute to say this. A lot of people pivot into the non-profit, the field that is more lucrative, especially when they get frustrated with the Nigerian medical or healthcare system and all that. It's important to always find the reason why you're going to go into something. You can be a doctor and make money and then invest in other things. But if you want to go into, alternative professions as a clinician, be very clear that it is in the line of your purpose. It contributes to your bigger picture. It contributes to your dream, and not just going to it because it seems fancy or because it seems like, oh, this is the in thing right now. This is the trend, and this is what I have to do because it's the trend.
So thank you so much, because Ikem has said focus, number 1. You're saying let that focus align with where you're at. So that's number 2. And the last word from Dr. Kachi. You're muted, sorry.
Okay, so I agree with both speakers on this particular question. For me, from my previous discussion here, I've always mentioned things around purpose. If you understand, it's not about the paycheck, it's about purpose. Now you have so many things you're doing, and what Kunle mentioned, you need to just see how any of these things can just align. Once they are able to align, you make the real advantage, make the use of those opportunities. Like, you get what I'm trying to say. So for me, for example, I'm doing an event. So Kunle calls me to come and do outreach in his facility, in his he's a celebrity. He wants me to do an outreach in his hometown. And so as I'm going there to do the outreach, I'm thinking about the people. I'm thinking about safety. I'm thinking about designs. Thinking about all that. I could use the opportunity and collect data too. I'll use for my research as a doctor, as a medical doctor. You get what I'm trying to say. So, as much as you're trying to do all that, just find how things can just align, and that makes it work.
Okay.
We need to just be sensitive of also the season. If not, you're going to run into what we call burnout. You won't just make it. So for me, find your purpose. Yes, you find yourself doing so many things. Find which one aligns, and with that, you're successful in whatever you find yourself doing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'm seeing in the very near future where Dr. Kunle is going to call you to come do his event, plan his event very soon.
Yes,
I'm seeing that already. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. So at this point now, I'd like to call on the director of the Ivan Research Institute Nigeria to give a closing remarks, and then we end this webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I've been so excited and listening to me. The one thing that you said you may not realize is that it's never too late for anybody to think about something else. There is one thing I hear is that there is a passion on what you all do. How you take that passion to the next stage is what never ceases, depending on whatever career stage you are. People have seen it, whether you want it as a side gig, which means you keep your doctor thing and do your doctor thing and have it as a side gig. You always hear about it, a physician side gig in other parts of the world. So we are not the only people that keep the medicine and do a side gig. There are people that take it and may have a replacement profession where you said, you know what, I'm done medicine, I want to try something else different, that you do that. There are people that take it as a second career. So you get on, you become the assistant professor, associate professor, you become a full professor. You say, been there, done that, I want a second profession. There are people that take it as a retirement income. So you done all those things and then you retire. You say, well, I did those things my mama and my papa wanted me to do, and I've retired now. I want to do something for me before I die. So, and you say, you know what, I like to cook, so I want to be a cook. So there are no times for all the things I hear you say. The most important thing is that you have to have a passion for one of those things that you want to do and how you use it. So as you were presenting, I was thinking in my mind, what was that thing I wanted to do before my mama and papa wanted me to go to medicine? So I'm trying to do, and for me, it's actually farming. So I am thinking, you know what, I've had this farm, I've always wanted to farm. Maybe it's time for me to go back and try to grow my cocoa again. But thank you so much for the energy that you bring to this table. We do this every year because we really want people to think about these options, to think about these things you're talking about, think about them in different ways, as I've tried to explain, as something you can do side gig, as a replacement, as some time of a second. So different ways you can do that. But don't let your passion die because you became a doctor. I think that's for me what it is.
Yes.
You can be a doctor and then you can decide how you engage those part of your passion. If it wasn't, and not everybody have one passion that he has to be a doctor or nothing. So thank you all guys for coming and being here. One of the things we do ask you is that if we get questions from people, is it okay to direct them to you? So we will try to engage them with you, so that, because that's the whole idea. When you talk about mentoring is the way to succeed. You received, and one of the ideas of mentoring is that you pay it forward, you give it back by somebody. So if you see somebody struggling, wondering how they're going to do with their cocoa farm, and reaches out to you, that you help them a little bit, and then see how they can also catch on this that you have done. Thank you, Kunle, thank you, Kechi, and thank you, Ikenna. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Ikenna, Kunle, and Kachi. Very interesting. 1 hour is just not enough to discuss all of this. And so I want to thank everyone for joining. And we'll see you next year. Merry Christmas in advance. And next year from January, we start another series, webinar series for the year. And we are hopeful you'll join us. So take care and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Events are about moments. This was our first wedding decoration, say 25 years ago. And ever since then, we have perfected on birthday themed parties, as you can see, with all sorts of white themed parties. We do corporate events. Wow, this was my 40th birthday party some years ago. It was all about glitz and glam. It was a Peaky Blinders themed party where we had beautiful people who were dressed according to all their parts. Ooh, that was wifey. And also some amazing people. Do we want to talk about our luxury themed weddings? There are very tasteful white wedding decorations and beautiful art of statements. We can talk about our burial setups, which is full of details and well coordinated planning. We are White Magic. We create magical moments.
My name is Kunle Kakanfo. This is not supposed to be a serious video. My name is Kunle Kakanfo. At some point, started calling myself an accidental medical doctor. One of the things about my journey was that I wanted more. Entertainment health, wellness, ambulance care. I wanted more beyond being a traditional clinical doctor in the four walls of the clinic. So I started my journey in public health. I've been practicing public health in all its dimensions. One thing that's also interesting about my journey is that I've always stayed at the tipping edge of innovation. I started what we call the Africa Hub for Innovation and Development, which essentially is a development firm. We took our journey into deep tech and emerging technology, leveraging on our digital transformation experience. And one of the things that we do with artificial intelligence, which is a deep tech work, is help to catalyze product innovation for healthcare, for education, for climate, for gender, ensuring to catalyze social impact solutions, promoting capacity building, upskilling for healthcare workers, for teachers, professionals generally, and also driving advocacy and ethical leadership for artificial intelligence. And also beyond that, having a hub, which is a physical hub, which is where I sit right now. And I just want to be part of continuous change. I want to be part of making sure that lives get transformed, people's health get improved, there are better health outcomes for people on the continent of Africa.
Beyond the code, my work is about impact. Every room I walk into, corporate, community, or global, is a chance to shift how African women experience health. I speak, I teach, I partner across borders because awareness is power and collaboration drives change. Through Depo Africa, we are building solutions that make healthcare safer, smarter, and truly accessible. This work fuels me, and every moment reminds me why I do what I do, empowering women and shaping a new future for women's health in Africa.
Dr. Ikenna Okongwu is a highly experienced operations leader in the FMCG QSR industry with over 30 years experience in Nigeria, UK, etc. Currently, the Managing Director, Dottie Universal Concepts Limited, Food Concepts Franchisee and Business Consultant. Up to January 2024, he was the Executive Director and Divisional Managing Director Operations at Food Concepts PLC, where he managed over 300 restaurant teams and over 6,000 employees across Nigeria and Ghana.
Events about moments. This was our first wedding decoration, say 25 years ago. And ever since then, we have perfected on birthday themed parties, as you can see, with all sorts of white themed parties. We do corporate events. Wow, this was my 40th birthday party some years ago. It was all about glitz and glam. It was a Peaky Blinders themed party where we had beautiful people who were dressed according to all their parts. Ooh, that was wifey. And also some amazing people. Do we want to talk about our luxury themed weddings? They are very tasteful white wedding decorations and beautiful art of statements. We can talk about our burial setups, which is full of details and well coordinated planning. We are White Magic. We create magical moments.